All right, welcome to the week of April 27th. I hope everyone has been doing well so far. This week we're going to work on solving two-step equations today, and tomorrow we're going to work on distributing and solving within equations. So at this point, if you have not completed the warm-up, pause the tape before we go over it. Here we go. Number one, what is the probability that a student will flip a coin and have it land on heads 2 consecutive times? Well, because we're doing two flips here, it tells us that in the problem. I went ahead and drew out what could happen on 2 coins. So on the first coin, the probability that you get a heads is 1 out of 2 because there's one heads, which is right here, out of 2 total options. Probability you get a heads on the second coin, there's one head out of 2, is also 1 out of 2. So the probability that you get a heads on the first coin is 1 out of 2. The probability that you get a heads on the second coin is 1 out of 2. When you have more than one probability, you multiply each probability to find the total. So it's a 1 out of 4 chance that you'll get a heads on both coins. Number two, this is what we worked on last week. When you simplify the following, the first step to simplifying is to distribute. So you do 1/2 times 3x and 1/2 times -4y. So on my calculator, I went ahead and used 0.5 instead of 1/2. I think it just makes it easier. So 1/2 times 3x is 1.5x. 1/2 times -4y is -2y. Then I have to distribute this +2 times 3x and +2 times -6y. I'm sorry, times -3y. After you distribute, you get this line right here. From here, we code it. We have 1.5x plus 6x minus 2y minus 6y. So when we put our x's together, 1.5x plus 6x is 7.5x. -2 minus 6 is -8y. If you need help with this, you can go back and look at last week's lessons. Number three says write an inequality to correctly represent the graph shown below, and there's the graph. Well, I know from last week that because the circle is open, it's either going to be greater than or less than. I also see that all the numbers are to the left of -4. Like my possible answers could be like -5, -6, -10. And all those numbers are less than -4. So n is less than -4. That inequality represents a solution right there. On to number 4, it says two angles are supplementary. Supplementary, that's the clue right there. Supplementary means they add up to 180 degrees. So all I did is I took a straight line and drew it on my paper and then split it up because it says two angles. The first angle measures 22 degrees, so I can just label this angle as 22. Second angle measures 2n plus 13. So I know that these two angles add up to be 180. So 180 is equal to 2n plus 13 plus 22. From here, 180 equals 2n plus 35 because I'm just combining my like terms. I take 35 away from both sides. These cancel out. That leaves me with 2n on this side. 180 minus 35, some quick subtraction. 145, and then you divide each side by 2 to get your answer. Today's lesson is going to be working with two-step equations. How can two-step equations be solved using inverse operations?